Did you know that Australian English has many unique and colourful words and phrases? Some of them were borrowed from the original inhabitants of the continent. Some were made up by the settlers confronted with things they'd never seen before. And yet others were created because, well, Australians seem to like short words. All this and more coming up. But first, do subscribe to the English Nut. G'day! That was my feeble attempt at an Aussie accent. It's sort of how Australians say good day. Oh, and Aussie is the Australian way of saying Australian. Australia is referred to as down under because it's in the southern hemisphere and below most other countries. Of course, this is based on the convention of showing the northern hemisphere on top in world maps and globes. When British settlers arrived in Botany Bay, they found so many new things, plants, animals and geographical features, they got busy expanding their vocabulary. Often, they borrowed words from the local people, the original Australians. Words for animals like kangaroo and koala, geographical features like billabong or bombora. Billabong means an isolated pool or waterhole formed when a river floods or changes course. And bombora means a wave formed over an offshore reef or rock, creating a dangerous stretch of water. There are musical instruments like didgeridoo, and then of course there's the boomerang, a traditional weapon used more as a toy nowadays. I'm going to talk about some colourful Australian phrases like rattle your dags later in the video, but first let's look at some words the settlers made up in their new homeland. The first one is outback. It means the remote, uninhabited parts of the continent. Then there's bushranger, which historically meant an outlaw living in the bush. The bush means the countryside or hinterland. Chook for chicken, neddy for horse, dunny for outdoor lavatory, billy for tea kettle, chalky for teacher. That's kind of logical, isn't it? There's more. Wool grower for sheep farmer. Cut lunch for sandwiches. To gander means to look. Piffle means nonsense. Kiwi for New Zealander. They even repurposed the name Sheila to mean woman. Mind you, some of these terms are now outdated. In fact, Australian women might take offense if you refer to them as Sheila. So do be careful. These Aussies were clearly in a hurry because they came up with a lot of short forms like arvo for afternoon, barbie for barbecue, bicky for biscuit, Chrissie for Christmas, footy for football, milko for milkman, postie for postman, and roo for kangaroo. They also came up with a lot of slang like tucker for food, nong, a gentle term for an idiot, slygrogging for sneaking a drink, and bonza for excellent. By the way, I think slygrogging is a bonza idea. They even made up colourful expressions like technicolour yawn for throwing up, which is what happens when you indulge in too much tucker, especially if it's followed by slygrogging. Don't come the raw prawn with me is the Australian way of saying don't try to fool me by acting naive. Rattle your dags means get a move on. Dag, by the way, is a lock of wool matted with dung hanging from the backside of a sheep. And my favourite, scarce as rocking horse manure, meaning something non-existent, a phrase that's rarely used these days. I hope you found this a fair dinkum video. Fair dinkum, by the way, is Australian for genuine, good or honest, which is sort of their national ideal. And if you manage to absorb all this stuff, then good on you, mate, which is Aussie for well done, buddy. If you know any other Australian terms that I've not covered in this video, do write them below. If you like this content, please share it with all your friends. On YouTube, subscribe to the English Nut and ring the bell icon too. That way you'll get an alert whenever a new video is released. I'm the English Nut. Before someone asks me to rattle my dags, let me say bye for now.